My dogs seem to have an issue with that particular theory.
Well, they're Star Wars fans. I understand. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Soaring and Scratching. I am Evil Chicken, and the yin to my yang.
I am the Eagle fan. Welcome. We appreciate you guys for showing up to watch. This is going to be... I'm actually really excited about this one. I have not seen this particular video, so we're both going to be seeing this together.
Nice.
And it's something that is in your area of interest.
Uh-oh.
This is actually from a channel, Top Tens Net. I've seen several videos from there, and the gentleman who does that usually does really good videos. So I'm anticipating that. So go over there, watch his videos, check them out. They are definitely worthy.
Nice.
So this is 10 consequences you didn't think about in your favorite sci-fi.
Nice. I'm madly in love with this already.
Awesome. I have no idea what he's going to speak of or what it's going to be. We'll do like we normally do. We'll stop after each one so we can have some conversation.
I am proud to be part of this. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, let's kick it off.
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching Top 10's Net, and in the video today, the 10 consequences you didn't think about in your favorite sci-fi. Sci-fi movies tend to create some of the most ridiculous worlds and scenarios imaginable, but that's what we love about them. We get to see things that could be in our future someday, and sci-fi certainly has an ability to stir our imagination. Unfortunately, since it's science fiction and most writers are concerned with telling an interesting story, scientific accuracy and other real-world concerns often get thrown entirely out of the window. While most of your favorite sci-fi flicks do have a happy ending, in reality, many of these happy endings would have been anything but. Number 10. After the Battle of Endor, the Ewoks would have had little time left. This is something that is actually a little controversial among Star Wars fans, and in order to satisfy them, has had weird explanations written about it in the expanded universe in order to stop people from worrying about all the cute little Ewoks dying out. This controversy started with an astrophysicist named Curtis Saxton, who wrote technical stuff for Star Wars and ruined a lot of the fans' days by pointing out there were a lot of things that were closer to fantasy than science fiction. He pointed out that there is no sound in space, no fire in the vacuum of space, and that almost all of the Ewoks would have perished after the events on Endor in Return of the Jedi due to a horrible death raining down on them from above. While scientifically this is completely accurate, the Star Wars lore master Pablo Hidalgo, also known as the Keeper of the Holocron, he certainly must get all the ladies, explained that while scientifically Endor should have gone through a cataclysm, sometimes you can throw out physics when you are making a movie. In other words, his explanation is basically, movies. For those fans who are particularly worried, though, he explained that when the Death Star was destroyed, it lost its hyperdrive regulator, and most of the debris was sucked into a wormhole and spread all over the galaxy. The remaining debris was carefully swept up by Rebellion tractor beams in order to avoid any harm being caused to their new furry friends. Number 9.
Actually surprising, then, that Lucas didn't do a whole series of movies about that.
Yes, that little piece of debris. There's an action figure, carded, mint on card, with just a bag of debris. Somewhere.
I mean, we learned about intergalactic trading and stuff, so you'd think they would have gone after that.
That's a lot of metal to scrap. I would think that there'd be a huge market for such thing. So they're saying that the face of the moon of Endor, rather, would have been completely obliterated. Am I correct?
And basically the Death Star raining down would have destroyed, yes.
There's a heavy rain gonna fall, Ewoks. interesting. I gotta tell you, I never thought of that. I never considered the possibility of. I don't know why. Maybe because yeah, Star Wars is more akin to fantasy than it is science fiction, hard science fiction. But that's not a bad thing.
My dogs seem to have an issue with that particular theory.
Well, they're Star Wars fans. I understand. I am too.
Something about death to Ewoks, I guess they don't like.
Or maybe they like. I don't know. There we are. Huh.
Coco, settle down.
It's all good.
I think Rachel might be coming home.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway,
Yes.
are we ready for number 9?
Yes, we are. What we got?
At the end of The Day After Tomorrow, the survivors have very little chance. The Day After Tomorrow is a Roland Emmerich apocalypse film in his usual vein, where pretty much everything is destroyed and the destruction happens on a truly grand scale. His movies tend to stir the imagination and make us think about what we might be forced to do if a truly large-scale disaster was to ever rock the globe. However, Emmerich's movies also tend to be absurdly unrealistic, and that is more true than ever when it comes to The Day After Tomorrow. In this movie, Dennis Quaid discovers that the Earth is soon going to go through a brand new ice age and that we may only have a year or so left, a time frame that is already pretty darn unrealistic. Now, to make matters even more insane, it quickly turns out that we only have days left. And yes, the world soon watches as everything falls apart and weather systems become so vicious and nonsensical that we start seeing hurricanes form over dry land. However, the most insane part of the movie is the entire ending. Near the end, despite a cold snap that is so cold helicopters are freezing in midair, Quaid manages to trek to New York, one of the coldest places in this new environment where the storm is at its worst, to rescue his son, who also somehow survived. After going through incredibly dangerous weather and somehow making it, he not only finds his son, but a helicopter magically arrives and takes them all to Mexico. And now for the depressing part, because the most logical conclusion of all of this is that the happy ending is basically just a dream of Quaid as he dies in the storm, desperately and foolishly trying to make it to New York, primarily on foot. Number 8.
I haven't actually seen that movie, but I have heard stuff about it.
It was just for an excuse for special effects. Its story is comes third on the list. Just saying, it doesn't have to make sense because you wait till it's over. You're like, here I am.
So in other words, don't waste my time.
Yeah, there's you could be doing other things.
Okay.
Watching Soarin Scratchin.
There you go. And on to number 8.
Please.
Independence Day Resurgence, the Earth's stability is permanently damaged. Independence Day Resurgence is a movie that didn't quite get the kind of attention and hype that the first one managed to gather. This is most likely due to the fact that Will Smith was not available or willing to do the project. While Smith maintains his reason for not being around was having other projects he wanted to do more, some people believe he deliberately turned it down because he was afraid he would overshadow his co-stars and force most of the budget of the movie to be spent on himself. While this decision may have actually made it easier to make another ensemble movie like the first one, it wasn't without its major problems. Near the beginning of the movie, a gigantic alien spaceship that is so large it seems to have its own gravity burns through the Earth's atmosphere, destroying countless buildings and vegetation. It proceeds to take up camp in the ocean. It then starts using a laser to drill down towards the center of the planet so it can take the core and use it as fuel. The heroes manage to stop them just in time as they are about to strip off the last bit of the Earth between them and the core. In the end, no one even talks about all of this and just acts as if everything's resolved, but in the real world, it wouldn't be resolved at all. While it's hard to be sure of the science because, well, no one's ever drilled down that far before, it's beggars belief that the Earth would not be catastrophically, if not irreparably damaged if a giant laser managed to penetrate that close to the planet's core. Number 7.
I never saw the sequel.
Actually, neither have I. I really had no desire to.
Yeah, I mean, Independence Day was enough. I mean, it was a fun movie, but it's not, it's a good popcorn movie, good popcorn movie. You don't necessarily go to a popcorn movie expecting science fact.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah.
But I didn't leave it saying, I hope there's another.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of sum everything up. Independence Day 2, the cash grab, but hey, it's not fair for me to rag on the movie. I never saw it. Maybe I'd see it and I'd say, I'll be damned. This is the finest thing since Empire Strikes Back. I don't think so. but
I know where I'd put my money.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to give it a shot. But I'd have to want to give it a shot.
So he's not going to give it a shot.
Probably not. There's too many other things.
More Soarin Scratchin to watch.
See?
Are we ready for number 7?
I am.
The humans in WALL-E are clearly not ready to return to Earth or be functioning people. In WALL-E, the humans are living on a space station because the Earth is no longer properly inhabitable. WALL-E is trying to bring them a flower to prove that the Earth is growing vegetation again, and it is time to bring the humans back. However, the artificial intelligence on the space station known as Auto is having none of that. It does everything it can to hide the fact that the Earth has things growing on it again and tries as hard as it can to stop WALL-E and the humans. However, the truth is, Auto may have been more right than the movie would lead you to believe. The humans have become incredibly fat, and even in the reduced gravity of space, they need scooters to get around. Computers also do almost everything for them, and they are slothful beyond all imagination. These humans are going to have an incredibly difficult time trying to adjust back to life on Earth again after being so fat and so lazy for so long. The truth is that they probably would have been better served waiting for the Earth to recover more first, and then slowly preparing subsequent generations for the more manual labor lifestyle they would soon need to adjust to. Number 6.
See, I think they didn't want to come back because they knew what WALL-E did to everyone else.
That murderous robot. He subsequently murdered a whole human race. And robot kind.
I think it's a possibility.
You might be onto something, Dave. I don't know. I think that was the point of WALL-E, though. The idea that now these people had to rely on themselves. Would it be better to put it off? No. Sometimes you gotta rip that Band-Aid off. As for me, I'd be on the space station. I want one of those freaking scooters. I'd be like, hey, another drinky? Thank you.
And then you'd hear what was happening to the people who went down to planet Earth.
WALL-E opened fire.
WALL-E's just slaughtering people.
Damn it, Pixar. Didn't see that coming.
It's like, I bet you that robot butler in Fallout 4.
Oh.
I bet you that's what happened.
Yeah, you're probably onto something.
Are we ready for number 6?
Yes, we are.
6. Children of Men. Humanity is still probably doomed. Children of Men is a grim sci-fi dystopia where the world is falling apart at the seams largely due to the fact that children simply aren't being born anymore. Women would have miscarriages left and right when the crisis began, and soon the sound of children playing on the playground stopped, leaving everyone very worried. The plot follows a man who is trying to bring a pregnant woman to safety, someone who the movie treats as the last best hope for mankind. However, the problem is that one woman managing to give birth and being fertile hardly fixes anything. If the vast majority of women are miscarrying like crazy, one woman won't make a big difference when it comes to keeping humanity going. Even if she were magically fertile, that means that the survivors would likely force her to keep getting pregnant non-stop. She would also have to make love with many different men in order to improve genetic diversity. But then there's the bigger question of what happens if her children aren't fertile. I mean, we're pretty much back at square one, trying to keep humanity's population going with only one woman who can carry children. At the end of the movie, the chances for humanity's survival, they're still extremely grim. Number 5.
I have not seen it. I've never even heard of that movie.
I've heard of the movie. I haven't seen it. I've wanted to read the book. I haven't done that either. I have some ideas about what happens, though. I just hope it doesn't happen in Texas, because anybody, never mind.
It's yeah. There's no way that one woman is carrying.
You're right. Back to
the
the
history
movie,
of,
and not to the women being imprisoned because they've miscarried. But let's go back to the film. You're absolutely right. Yeah, can you imagine? There's no genetic diversity, and that's a tragic flaw for these science fiction films, Dave. I mean,
true.
You know, marrying your cousin. What the hell?
We've already seen what happens. We've already seen the results there.
See? Exactly.
We ready for the next one?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Minority Report. Lots of very upset would-be murderers or unstable people are on the loose. Minority Report is a Tom Cruise sci-fi action flick set in a future where special psychics lie in weird floating tank things. From these tanks, they predict crimes before they actually happen. Now, there's this pre-crime unit that Tom Cruise works in, and it allows them to keep the criminals off the street before they can actually go and become criminals. However, Cruise soon learns that there is something really wrong with the entire system when it predicts that he will commit a murder, and he soon goes on a quest to get to the bottom of absolutely everything. At the end of Minority Report, it is proven that the psychics can only see possible futures and cannot predict with certainty who is going to do what. This puts a huge kink in the whole predicted murder thing, and suddenly a veritable army of formerly convicted people are out on the streets, free to do, well, whatever they want. Now, all of them were technically innocent, but many of them literally were stopped just short of actually killing someone. Further, some of them were almost certainly going to be killers. If that weren't bad enough, though, many of them are probably now really angry and holding a bit of a grudge against the world because they were wrongfully imprisoned for a really long time. Unfortunately, that huge prisoner release means there's going to be a massive crime wave, and a very real one this time. Of course, if you thought that was depressing, some fans are convinced that the happy ending was all just a dream, and that everything after Cruise goes into the weird coma prison tube thing is just him imagining things. And by the way, yes, weird coma prison tube thing is absolutely the correct technical term.
Okay. How
That's a
do
good
you
point.
arrest somebody for a crime they have not committed, though? You can't. Right?
True.
So
Technically,
I'm just saying.
You can't.
Well, this is true. I enjoyed Minority Report. I thought it was an underrated kind of film. It has Max von Sydow's in there too. He's so good, and yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. The thing is, though, these people were in prison was a suspended animation kind of thing, so you don't sense time passing or anything like that, if memory serves. If anybody down there comments, help me out. My memory's not what it once was, but if it's a suspended animation thing, you're getting people out on the streets again who may or may not have done something or were going to do something. And it was proven that you don't know.
But while they might not know how long they've been in there, that time still passed. So now their loved ones have aged. Some have died. Their whole life is now turned upside down.
True.
So I think I could definitely see people holding a grudge, and a good number of those people we're going to be criminals. We're going to commit those
Wait a second.
crimes.
How do you know that? How do you know that? I think, let me put it this way. In my head, I mean, don't get me wrong. Not saying that I mean, there's lots of things that I think that I'm like, oh God, what am I thinking? And I stopped myself and I said, you are being of light. Keep moving forward. You know, what if these these psych police show up and they stop somebody who's just thinking that? Dave, have you ever been in a line at
We've got him on tape saying it.
Ever been in a line at a
move in.
Said, you know, I could just punch this guy right in the nose. And you're like, yeah. It's like, man, I could just, Is it just me? But you know what? If I ended up in prison for that, that's thought police stuff. My thoughts are very, that's none of the police's business or the government's or whoever's. It's what I do, not necessarily what I think.
I get that.
I don't know. Unless we go from a biblical perspective, in which, bear with me here, I'm pixelating again. Sorry. Unless we went from a biblical perspective, whereas to look at a woman lustfully, quote unquote, is to actually have committed adultery in one's heart. I don't know. Is that what the story Minority Report is saying? To actually think about the act is guilty as opposed to committing the act? Woo, that's a tough one.
Well, we'll talk about one. Never mind. Nope. No, I'm not gonna do it.
I understand.
So anyway, I get your point.
Right.
I'm not saying that there weren't people who were wrongly jailed.
Okay. So,
but I'm saying there's also a good portion
yes,
that should have been in jail. And my point is not on them being in jail,
right,
but now them getting out of jail. They were people who were already going to commit crimes, now being pushed even farther down that road.
Okay. So they're upset. They're miffed. They've lost. Little Johnny's no longer in Little League. He's retiring next week. They're upset. I gotcha. But at the same time, they've been in prison for something that they didn't do yet. I don't know. It's a tough one. In fact, I think we should watch the movie again.
but let me make this point again.
Sure.
Yes, they didn't do it yet.
So do these have prior convictions?
But they were going to.
How do you know? It was proven in the movie, though. Okay.
I'm not saying about this. I'm not convicting a person myself. I'm saying
I believe you. It's not you, Dave. It's the system.
You're taking some people. Some of those people would have done that crime. They were already psychotic enough to do that crime and would have done that crime. Got arrested for it and then got let out later. Now they've got more of a grudge. Now you're taking someone who's psychotic and giving them more of a reason to be more psychotic. So I'm not saying that the overall group. I'm just saying there's going to be a subset. In that Venn diagram, there's going to be a subset that were complete psychopaths that are now being let out on the streets with more of a grudge to have at it.
You bring up an interesting point. I would also say that the society in Minority Report, surveillance is everywhere. It's what it does. And if that's the case, then they could be released, perhaps if they had like some sort of a holographic projector that they strap to their ankle for a year or so. Do you think that would be fair? That way.
Now,
that way, it completely watches everything they do.
now I want to reiterate here. I'm not saying that everyone who was in jail should have been in jail. There's a large portion who got totally screwed and should have never been in. But the issue there is now you've taken people who maybe wouldn't have gone down that road and really pissed them off. So there's going to be a subset of those.
So you're shaking the tree, is what you're saying.
Who maybe never would have committed that act before.
Right.
But is now like, screw it. I've already been punished for something I didn't do. Why not do it?
I don't know. How big are the lawsuits in the future?
This is a good question.
I don't know. This one was my favorite one so far. What's next? What's next?
Okay. Good question. Let's see what we got next.
Before, after Jurassic World, Zach and Gray probably both have PTSD, and their parents will still likely split. In Jurassic World, we mostly follow two story arcs. The arc following Chris Pratt's character and the female CEO of the park, Claire, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, and the arc following Claire's two young nephews, Zach and Gray. These two boys are here on a fun vacation and are supposed to spend time with their aunt, but soon end up spending time with each other via a chaperone, quickly showing the dysfunctionality of their family unit. Later on in the plot, Gray reveals that his parents hired divorce lawyers, and his older brother tries to cheer him up. This entire part of the story is not really talked about again, and it seems like it was left without any real resolution. At the end of the movie, we don't have any reason to believe that Gray and Zach's parents have changed their minds in any significant way. Gray and Zach went through a bonding adventure and became closer to each other and their aunt, but their parents are no closer than they were before. On top of all that, both kids witnessed people getting eaten by ravenous dinosaurs, were nearly devoured by said dinosaurs themselves, and only barely made it out with their lives intact. The reality here is that both of these kids are probably going to have pretty severe PTSD, and then there's the fact that their parents are about to get divorced. Number 3.
That is a good point.
That's life. That's what all the people say.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry. Do they have PTSD? Yeah, they should. Will that have any effect on their parents divorcing? No, probably not. This is not. And don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a sad thing, but they were going to get divorced anyway.
You heartless bastard.
No, not in this case. What they need
Please
to do
send
is
your hate mail. Care of Evil Chicken.
You know I'm right. I mean, look, they had a bonding experience. Post-traumatic, definitely. But this is something that they can take heart in the future. Horrible as it may be. Their parents, however, that's a subset of the story. Unfortunately, not everybody gets a happy ending. And I don't know. I don't mean to sound like doom and gloom, but yep.
If you go to the right masseuse. Sorry.
Point taken. Hey, Dave, what's next?
Inception. Even if Cobb is not stuck in a dream, his life is still a total mess. Inception is one of the most well-known and memorable sci-fi movies from the last decade or so. Nearly everyone watched it, and we were all fascinated by the idea of sneaking into someone's dreams in order to steal their secrets, as well as the crazy way that they fought their way through dreams within the dreams. The setting was entirely original, and it gave us a new world of sci-fi and fantasy that most of us never imagined. However, while the movie was incredibly fascinating and intriguing, it also left us with a less than satisfying ending. The truth is that Cobb is hardly in much better of a position than he was before the movie started. When Cobb finally goes home, he is told that his rich Japanese benefactor will get him through customs. However, going through customs doesn't mean he has any kind of blanket pardon. He may still have some questions to answer or have to sneak around. Not only that, but he may still have COBOL on his back if they can ever find out where he went, which means he will likely have to pull his children out of school and upend their lives in order to evade the law. Even if his employer did get him a full pardon, he is still incredibly psychologically damaged and trying to take care of children that hardly know him. And on top of that, he essentially has to retire from the only job he ever really knew, so there's also the question of what work Cobb is going to do next. Now, for his part, Christopher Nolan deliberately left all of this vague because he wanted you to decide the ending yourself. Number 2.
I decided. Dave, did you see it?
I actually have not seen it.
Okay. Well, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but damn it, I can't not spoil it. Okay.
No worries.
Due to the way that I see this ending, it doesn't matter if he's pardoned or not. Those of you with the knowledge know what I just said.
See, I've never seen it.
The top
I
still
don't know
spins.
why.
Well, maybe it wasn't on cable. I can take that.
I just
I
am really
enjoyed
bad
Inception.
at watching movies anymore.
That's fair. Yeah.
There seems
And
to
then
be
COVID
so many
happened.
hours in the day,
Sure.
and trying
dig it.
to split them up between videos and
Hey.
work.
I'm with you, man.
And none of that is a complaint.
No, I got you. There's so many things that require our time. You know, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of these films either. You know, but yeah. So, I think this one could get a pass because of the way it ended in my mind, but I could be wrong.
Okay, I will have to try to watch that sometime.
It's trippy. But okay, what we got, Dave?
Okay.
The Avengers. No one in the United States would ever trust their government again. At the end of the Avengers,
Correct.
Loki uses the Tesseract to open a portal that brings in the Chitauri army, which is hellbent on conquering Earth and taking it entirely for their own species. They are brought in right over New York and start smashing into office buildings and wantonly killing civilians. Now, because it's an action movie that is meant for fun, we're not going to go too far into wondering why Loki didn't attack military installations or somewhere like Washington, D.C. if he really wanted to take out civilians, but there are some important questions that we do need answers to here. The biggest issue is that the powers that be in the government made a decision to completely give up on New York and just nuke the entire city. This is an absurd decision, as there is still a portal open and we do not have the intelligence as to whether there could be more still pouring out of that portal. I mean, did they really learn nothing from watching Independence Day? Further, the government chooses to wipe out millions of civilian lives in the hope that it would contain a threat with absolutely no guarantee. The sad after effect of this is that no American citizen would ever trust the government again. In real life, this would have created a huge amount of unrest and possibly led to a huge change in the government makeup. To play it so fast and so loose with the lives of millions of civilians and make such a stupid snap judgment is something that would reverberate throughout the globe for the rest of history, even after Iron Man's incredible last-second save. Number 1, 2012. The remaining members of society are...
Sorry.
No problem.
I was contemplating that one and lost track.
Yeah, it's okay. There's some stuff to contemplate there.
People don't need a whole lot of reason to distrust the government, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, not all of it has a founding in reality. But yes, if this happened, that would just push even more.
Good grief. Yeah. It's one of those doomsday alternative. And here's the thing. I think in reality, there are people in certain rooms in the world, rooms of power, that just for shits and giggles discuss this possibility. So, the aliens attack. What's our acceptable numbers for, I don't know, purifying the area, making certain that it doesn't spread, and our interests hold true? I can, I'm certain there are people out there spitballing. If the zombies start rising, what are our acceptable losses? um, I have no doubt that that's how it's played out. Sometimes, just because it's a mental exercise to think about what's the worst case scenario. Do I think that they would sacrifice a city like New York? I think it would depend on maybe if Loki unleashes this extra dimensional force upon the world. I don't know, but I don't know. You bring up a point. Trust in the government. Trust is a valuable commodity, and it's based in a baseline reality, and some people can't even agree on that. So I don't have much. I don't know. I don't know, Dave. I'm just talking.
We've seen the rise of this lately, so I will not say anything else.
Hey, what's next?
Yes, great question. 2012, apparently.
Some of the most useless. In the movie 2012, we are treated to an incredibly cartoony and insane spectacle wherein the entire Earth is pretty much upended. The Mayan predictions come true, and it turns out some kind of magnetic force from the sun is going to shift the Earth's poles, realigning everything and kill billions of people. The elite of the globe, though, they figure it out in time and secretly hide it from the masses. They create huge arks. These are special ships that can survive the coming apocalypse and repopulate the globe. They try to get huge swaths of art and knowledge to bring on board, but when it comes to people, tickets are only known of and available for purchase to the most wealthy people imaginable. This, along with a few random people who manage to be close to the arks as they are closing, make it on board and survive the coming apocalypse. Now the Earth is faced with the need to repopulate all of the lost people, but they're in a bit of a bind. There is going to be a lot of hard hands-on work to do in order to rebuild humanity and the Earth. But the kind of people on the arks are not exactly the sort of people who will be good at this. Most of the people on the arks were incredibly wealthy, and they've never done any sort of manual labor. To make matters worse, the remainder of Earth's population are some of the most arrogant people alive who all think that they should be in charge. Unfortunately, it looks like the leaders in 2012 didn't think things through very well and may find it difficult to properly rebuild humanity. Perhaps if they had really thought things through, they'd probably have brought a few more tradesmen on board. So I really hope you enjoyed that video, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel for brand new videos every day of the week. Also, I've got another channel, it's called Biographics. It's biographies of notable people from the present day as well as history, from Elon Musk to Osama bin Laden. You can check it out through the icon on the screen now. But if you want to watch something else right now, why not check out another Top 10s video or a Biographics video?
Okay.
All right. Definitely go check out this guy's channel.
Yes.
Getting back to 2012, horrible movie. Horrible movie. Shades of When Worlds Collide, which was a movie from the 50s concerning the similar topic. They made a couple of spaceships, and certain people get on board and certain people don't. So there's
now,
a class warfare.
Much of that doesn't surprise you. If any of that were to happen, you kind of know that's the way it would work. And they wouldn't also be thinking about the fact that now they're actually going to have to do some work after surviving this.
This is true. This is true.
They're not just going to return to their millionaire lifestyle.
No. It wasn't the best movie. Again, it's one of these special effects driven things.
That's kind of what it looked like when it was showing pictures there. I thought this is probably one of those ones that would be like fun to see in a theater, full screen sound.
Yeah, that's what it's built for. It's a popcorn movie. It's superfluous, but I don't know. There are people out there who have built doomsday communities in mountainsides and underground, and I'm not making this up. And basically, they've hired security forces who will live in there with them. I guess they've completely forgotten about the people who built it and know exactly where everything is. You see, that's why there's bodies buried in the Batcave, Dave. There are bodies buried in the Batcave.
That's why nobody knows where it's at.
Nobody but Bruce Wayne.
Goes back to, I forget which ruler it was that
Stalin,
buried treasure somewhere, had a group of soldiers
Yes.
bury the treasure someplace, had another group of soldiers then kill that first group of soldiers as they were on their way back, but then as the second group was on its way back, had another group kill those soldiers. So nobody knew.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Human life. I'm pro-life, at least in that specter. You know, I mean, wow.
Yep. But anyway, that was an interesting list.
I enjoyed it. Who was this? Top Tens?
Top Tens net.
Please go check them out. I know I will. They're phenomenal. That was fun.
Yeah, I've seen other videos of theirs. They have some good videos. So definitely check it out.
Report was my favorite one, though.
That led to some good discussion.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking right now. The police are on the way.
Oh, I thought, how does he know I was going to take a sip?
Well, we've now
Amazing.
reinstituted, we're going dry. Prohibition is back.
Oh, when you could take this from my cold, dead hand.
They're coming for our whiskey.
Mullen Levy.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for making it this far. If you did,
God bless you.
leave us a like, a comment, and a subscribe. No pressure there, but we appreciate it. What are your thoughts? What do you think about these 10, and do you have any others?
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any others? There's gotta be. There's gotta be. Thank you.
I'd like to see some
watching.
about some TV shows as well.
Oh my.
Because you know there's got to be plenty. Just go looking at Doctor Who alone.
Oh, good grief. How about this one, Dave? I know you're going to... This one will strike chords with you, I believe. Alf. Alf, the TV show. That ended horribly. Absolutely horribly.
I forget how that ended.
The government comes and scoops him up and makes him disappear. Spoilers.
Holy crap.
Spoilers. Sorry. But yeah. Now, if that's the case, dude, that is so ripe. You know what? There's your Independence Day tie-in. They rip open that UFO that's trying to board the Earth, and lo and behold, it's full of Alfs. That I'd watch.
Yeah, but the things Alf did to cats, maybe it was justice.
See, it's been a long time for me. That's right. He used to eat them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Well,
So you don't quite feel as bad now, do you?
well, I like cats, but it's an excellent source of protein.
I gotta say, I like that show. That was a fun little show.
I knew that you enjoyed it. And another one, Third Rock from the Sun. That was a fun one.
Oh, that was hysterical.
Oh, John Lithgow. The cast was so good. I mean, just so good.
The cameos.
Shatner.
Oh my God.
That was pure brilliance. The writers.
It was on the wing.
You too? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So, thank you guys again.
Yes.
Sorry, we just kind of ground to a halt here.
Thank you very much.
Yes. As always, be good to each other.
Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Keep your eyes to the sky because the truth is out there.
And your ears to the ground because you want to hear them coming. Oh, yes, you do.
And they're coming. When you look up, you see them. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.